So, hello, it's Clive de Carl here, and I'm joined for a second time by Nicola Farmer, who I think is probably doing some of the greatest work that's going on out there. And anybody who doesn't know about Nicola's work certainly needs to. So, Nicola, could you just give an overview for those who didn't watch the last video, because what you're doing is incredible.
Oh, hi, Carl. Yeah, thank you for having me here. It's quite amazing. So overview about what I'm doing. Well, it's a program to work with children, to bring into their awareness, their consciousness, an aspect of themselves that they didn't know that was possible. Um, and it's kind of a remembering process, but basically we take kids through a program where they can fully align with who they are. And ultimately, there's all the potential to be able to read, play, and see completely blindfolded, to the degree where, in fact, if they have to have glasses to read, to see, that when they're blindfolded, they have perfect vision. So, it's quite an out there program. It's becoming more known around the globe, but the benefits of it are huge to the kids. So much so that we see them grow in confidence. We see their education become accelerated and easy, and we've had kids go through healing processes, all sorts, really, Clive, and it's growing in popularity as we speak.
Remember one of the interviews or one of the films that you'd recorded, one of the little girls said, "Well, we're seeing with our inner light." How would you describe how it's being done?
Yeah, they say, because with the activation we take them through, we get them in that sort of connective state of being their inner light, because that's what we are effectively. Um, and the light of their spirit becomes their vision.
Can you explain that more?
Well, we have this inner light, which I call the spark of God or creator or source or whatever you want to call it. But our spirit is an integral part of who we are. Um, so when we fully align with that spark of light, we become the essence of our spirit, and therefore the spirit is more present in the child's day-to-day life, as in fully integrated with what they're doing.
So, um, I appreciate it does more than just vision, but if we stick to vision primarily, um, what sort of vision corrections have you seen as a result of it? I mean, will the eyes themselves improve insight, or is it the other connection that's doing it all?
I can't scientifically prove anything because we haven't gotten that far with it yet. But what we know is that children who have a vision deficiency, as in they might be long-sighted, short-sighted, we're seeing corrections in their physical vision, so that they may not need to wear glasses anymore. But um, we're only seeing it in a percentage of them. So whatever is happening, and one of the things as teachers of this work that we have to do, and that is to honor the child's soul path. So, whatever they've come on this planet to do and to achieve and to project, and, whatever that purpose is in life, we have to honor that with the child. So, whilst it would be amazing that every child sees and every child's vision improves and every child goes through a healing process, we're not creating robots. We're creating an essence of a child that's following its path individually.
Yes, well, very interesting. And um, so anywhere between 5 and 11 years old can learn the technique, generally speaking.
6 and 12, yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah, we used to teach 5-year-olds, but they were too young. They were, that they couldn't concentrate to the degree that was needed.
And I know sometimes teaching them can succeed in minutes, but what are the sort of the averages involved of time and how many of the children are able to do it?
Um, I would say that the percentage of children that can see blindfolded is probably around 70%.
Wow.
Um, and the children that improve somewhere in their lives is absolutely 100%. Um, but improving their physical vision, I don't know what that would be. Um, but what we do know is that every single child benefits in one way or another. Um, and, I've said this before, Clive, but can you imagine spending an hour with a child, giving that child your 100% undivided attention, praising a child for a solid hour, and times that by 12, like 12 sessions? That's going to change a child's life just by doing that without putting a blindfold on and taking them through the program.
And so, how long ago was it that you started? I'm wondering how old the oldest child is now and whether they've continued it through towards adulthood.
Yeah, the oldest child I would say is probably about 19 now. And he was maybe 8 or 9 at the time. I hear he's doing very well, very, very well. And he was one of the children whose um, education became enhanced by the program because one of his favorite subjects was computer science. And his teacher at school was pretty impressed with the fact that he could build a computer and program it equally as well. And we're talking the difference between left and right brain here. So um, he proved that we're achieving left right brain coherence so that the kids are becoming logically creative and creatively logical, like in the same breath. So he apparently is doing very, very well. But we're seeing um, the kids sort of go for years without putting the blindfold on and then putting it back on, going through a bit of a remembrance, and their vision is there again. In the book I wrote recently about this work, there's a story in there of one of the older children. She's now 15. She was asked to take part in the school play. And she was very nervous about auditioning for it. And her mum just very casually, who's also an ICU teacher, said, "Well, put your blindfold on and practice, for your audition with your blindfold on." And the most remarkable thing is that her confidence grew to the degree that the next day she auditioned, the day after she got the role it was actually the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. And not only did she instantly learn her lines, she instantly learned all the lines of all the other parts as well.
Wow.
So it just gave her this broad vision and an ability to, I mean, she could have probably played every role, I think. But yeah, so they put their blindfolds back on and they get back into the swing pretty quickly. But it doesn't mean they'll see. So just from that story, you'll understand that it's not just about the seeing, it's about the inner confidence, the abilities that this work gives to the kids.
So, just sticking with the eyesight for a moment, what's the most dramatic visual improvement you've seen from minus or plus what to?
Um, so we've seen children with stammers, stutters. By the end of the program, they've completely gone. We've seen children who have traumas and they bedwet, and that goes by the end of the program. And we don't delve into what those traumas are. We just trust that the program will relieve or deal with something that needs to be supported or eliminated from a child's life for them to move forward. Another story in the book is of a little girl who had chronic fatigue. She was completely bedbound, and if she wasn't in her bed, she was, transported in a wheelchair. And she went through the program, and within months of the program finishing, she was back in mainstream education.
So,
So, we're seeing some pretty amazing things happen with the kids.
so if everything happens for a reason, why would a child have those problems in the first place? What did I was interested in causes.
Super big question, eh? I mean, from my perspective and my understanding and the guidance that I receive, you know, any affliction, whether we're child, adult, whatever, um, you know, I see it as being um, an opportunity to learn and grow from something. And whether it be for our own soul growth or whether it be for somebody else's soul growth, um, we need to look at it from a different perspective, not from poor me, but well, what is this showing me? Where is this taking me? Who am I facilitating this role for in order for them to wake up, recognize, or heal something within themselves as well?
Yeah.
I was working with a lady this morning in Germany, and two of her very, very close friends have both been diagnosed with cancer. And she was devastated by the information because they're like her sisters, and her first thought was, well, they're going to die, and I'm going to be here on my own. I'm going to feel lonely. I'm going to be alone. And I said to her, but look at it from a completely different perspective. Even if they're going to die or they're not, because we're all going to die one day. I said, but what you've got to look at it is, what are they showing me about my life? And I got her to work through, she's healthy, she's comfortable in her life. I said, is this not about exercising gratitude for what you have? And those two friends of yours are showing you that you're healthy, and is that not worth celebrating? So for me, the affliction, the disease, the discomfort that anybody is experiencing, we need to look at it through a different pair of eyes and the eyes of the soul and say, what are you showing me? What do I need to change in my life? How do I need to up my game? How much more gratitude do I need to express?
Yeah. Yeah, when I was looking at cancer survivors 20 odd years ago, looking for what did they do right? What was the big thing? The majority said gratitude. They got to that stage of gratitude where they realized it had happened for a reason. They were
Yeah,
thanking it because they made the changes necessary and it goes away.
that's it. That's it. And the biggest killer is fear.
Exactly.
That feeds cancer, that will destroy a life. And, there's far too many situations in life and people out there that want us to be in fear, um, because then, we're vulnerable
Well,
and malleable.
it's their cheapest weapon.
Totally. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I've always been surprised when you ask people what's the opposite of fear, that many people actually can't pinpoint what it is. And to my mind, fear is a state of being, and the opposite of it is love, which is a state of being. And you can't be in both fear and love at the same time. But you can choose, and then people
Absolutely.
get in the habit of choosing fear. It's a
Oh, but
use.
that's a conditioning, isn't it?
Yeah,
We're brought up fearing God. We're brought up fearing authority and fearing life almost. And that stops you from living. But what we find with the kids is they become fearless. They have this innate belief and understanding in themselves that they can do anything. And having trained teachers all around the world, and they're now working with kids all around the world, there's this ripple, this undercurrent of kids that are walking around fearless. And that to me is everything to celebrate.
Yes. Well, quite so. So, um, I know we talked last time that you were in the future planning to work with children who are actually clinically blind. Has that happened at all now?
No, it hasn't yet. So anything that I kind of bring into awareness that is potentially life-changing, it just sits there until I get basically a green light from consciousness to say go, 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 go. And one of the other things that's been hovering for a while is a program like this that we do with the kids for adults. And I just got the green light on the adult version. So I'm working on that now. But when we come to the kids and adults who are without vision, then that will happen at some point, but it's just not ready. I think, to be honest, Clive, it's taking a lot to get people to accept and understand that it is possible to see blindfolded, and to then bring it into a world of people who don't have vision, I think is just a step too far yet. But that the awareness is growing, which is a really good sign. And then as soon as I get that green light, then we'll roll it out to those who have lost their sight.
I mean, I could imagine that if somebody had been blind from day one, that would
Mm.
be more tricky. But if they used to have sight and have lost it, then, they know what they've lost and therefore would recognize it again easier than somebody who's never seen anything but black or something.
Exactly. Um, and so the kids, when they come to us to be taught, they need to know their colors. They need to know what letters look like and shapes and images. And I don't doubt for 1 minute that at some point, and I'd like to see it in my lifetime, that those who were born without their sight will be able to tap into maybe a past memory or something from a past life where they'll remember colors. Because when we die and we're reborn, we go through what I call psychic amnesia. So we're born into a new life and we forget everything from the previous lives. And I can understand why, because you come back with full memory and full disclosure. You're literally going to go, "What have I done?" But there will be a way. I know there will be a way. So, but I just feel it's one step at a time.
Right. So, whereas before you thought over 12 was too difficult, uh, apart from getting the green light, have you learned some new technique which makes it easier as well, or does it just take longer? Or
Adults are going to take longer, purely because the development of the left brain, the logic, the analytical side of the brain. But I'm excited because I'm this close to seeing blindfolded myself.
oh,
But it's taking time because every time I see that glimmer of light, my left brain says, "Is that real?" So overcoming the left brain activity is the hardest part of seeing blindfolded as an adult. But there are different techniques to work with, as in getting the inner child to be very present when we're doing this, and bringing fun and joy back into life. When I'm practicing myself, if I smile, the vision gets a bit clearer.
wow,
You know,
that's interesting.
yeah, it's fascinating. And I had a group of adults that I was training as teachers last month. They were actually with me in person, not on Zoom as it normally is. And there were 17 of them in a room, and seven of them saw blindfolded. Seven adults spontaneously
Oh,
saw blindfolded.
wow.
And it was the greatest gift I could have ever had in all of the, ICU teacher training sessions that I've done, because they could feed back to me what they were experiencing because we can't ask the children. And so there was lots of sort of blindfolded women in the room just doing this with their hands in front of their face, like they were seeing their hands. And I can understand it because I can see shadows of my hands when I do that with the blindfold on. Um, and and so it's evolved so far since then because one of the women said, "What is it I'm seeing? It's like an energy movement." And I got instant guidance from one of my spirit team who said they're seeing plasma. And so that was really exciting. And and this vision just it's different. And the kids don't tell us it's different. But where I'm starting to see, you can see it's coming from a completely different source. But our soul is made up of plasma. And so I'm so excited. I can't tell you. It's really exciting.
It struck me that um, while hardly with a government school it's going to happen, but it would be incredible to teach school children. I could imagine there would be a private school out there who would love to have a teacher who taught, that type of skill. It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, a whole different type of school kid coming out of school.
It absolutely would. And I kind of see it being a Montessori, a Steiner school, Waldorf, something like that. Um, but I feel that we need to aim at the school children who are struggling first.
Yes,
Because I absolutely know we can take a child from the bottom of the class to the top of the class in 12 sessions. So yeah, the private schools, the forest schools as well.
yes.
Anybody that's not controlled by the educational authority, it would certainly be a good opening to get it into that educational system of some sort to show them, what's possible. The only minor blip, if you like, is that we can't teach it to the kids in groups. We have to teach it to them individually.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, because kids are naturally competitive. And if you've got a very confident child and a child that lacks confidence, and the child whose confidence sees, the child who lacks the confidence is not likely to be able to achieve his or her potential because of the natural competition between them. So, and the other thing as well is that, when we train as teachers, we have to hold a space of absolute strength and unconditional love for those children to experience what they're going to experience. And if you've got somebody in that space who's skeptical, it's going to completely disturb the energy that you're creating. And then again, it lowers the potential for the child that you're working with.
So on that level, when you had the 17 women or people with you in the room, how much difference do you think it was that they were in the room as opposed to the end of Zoom?
I think it was the collective energy of actually being there in person. And what was really amazing as well is that the seven who saw were completely in awe of what they were able to do. The women that were in awe of what they could do was fantastic. But the support from the other 10 who couldn't see blindfolded was even more amazing. There wasn't an ounce of jealousy in the room. They were all completely supportive of each other. And I think what it demonstrated is the collective energy of positivity for sure. Um, I'd even bring into that concept the hundredth monkey effect as well.
Yes, yes.
So there was um, there was a lot of excitement. The upliftment, oh, it was amazing. It was such a privilege to witness something like that.
And the average time to teach a teacher, how much time would they need to devote to, getting to that point where they can teach others?
So they come for a 3-day teacher training course. So whether that's in person or on Zoom, and it's 3 consecutive days. They're long days and they're very intense. But after the 3 days, they go away and they do some case studies to help develop their skills, to grow in confidence. And then they present their work. And I mean, it for me, when I'm assessing the teachers through their case studies, this is not a case of how successful were they. What I need to see in the case studies is that they demonstrate the competencies needed to be a teacher. And once I've assessed their case studies and they're qualified as ICU teachers, they can go out into the world and do as many children as they like.
So
Um,
it's really pretty quick. I mean,
oh, yeah,
university degree in 3 days with a bit of practice on
absolutely.
top.
But they do have to go through a self process in those 3 days as well. So the first day of the training, um, I teach them how to retrain their ego, how to bring the ego back to its original state of survival rather than control. We then go on to establish a new connection with the inner child, based on the fact that the inner child is not traumatized or wounded. It's simply as pure as your spirit and your soul, but it's been misconceived for a long time. And then at the end of day one, I take them through a 4-part meditation, which is to bring them into heart coherence. So they have to do a day of working on themselves before we move into how do we work with the children. And I can tell you there are some major transformations on that as well. You know,
Yeah, I mean, a little bit like you were saying earlier, you spend 3 days with somebody and it's about them.
yeah,
Nobody in their life has probably done that before necessarily.
exactly, exactly that. And for me, this is about keeping life simple. Consciousness says to me all the time, you haven't earned the right to be called human beings because you don't be, you constantly do.
Exactly,
And
human doings.
yeah, exactly that. And they say, you're supposed to graduate through life with a PhD in simplicity, not complexity. And and that's anything to do with my teachings, my work. It's all about keeping it simple, because there's life's too complicated anyway.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So yeah, keep it simple, Clive, because there is no other way really. And love is simple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when the teachers come, what percentage of them get it and go on to be teachers?
Oh, most of them.
Like
Yeah.
9 out of 10 type most of them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I think when they're in the moment and they're in those 3 days of training and you feel fully supported by being trained and by each other in that group, the energy and the drive is really, really big. And then when they finish, and I often get loads of messages afterwards saying, "Thank you, it's been really great, but now I feel a bit lost," and because that support of each other is kind of waning somewhat. Um, it's about keeping the momentum going and going straight out there, straight into your case studies, and keep keep pedaling hard on the bicycles so that you do keep that flow moving. Um, the teachers that um, the one out of the 10 that doesn't um, succeed and go on to become a qualified ICU teacher is simply because they didn't keep it going. You know, and it's hard. It's not an easy thing to do, to go out there and show the world that kids can do something that everybody would believe is impossible. But it's about them having the courage of their convictions and following that soul path and saying it absolutely is possible. And if they don't see blindfolded, this is how their lives can change.
And presumably it's going to turn up their other abilities, such as intuition, presumably. They're certainly
Oh,
going to be aware that
completely.
they are connected.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and that connectivity with their intuition, I mean, it never ever goes away. It just becomes dormant. And what we find with kids is they're highly intuitive, and generally they go through the education system and it shuts their intuition down. And somewhere later in midlife, it might come back again. But what we're aiming for the kids to do is keep hold of it and be aware of it all the way through their life, because it's going to be their greatest guidance ever.
Yeah. And education, school-wise, is massively dangerous for kids.
Yeah, unfortunately.
The other day, I was having a conversation with somebody, and I made a joke. I said, I hated school until the very day I burnt it down. And she said, no, you as well. I thought, oh,
Well, I'll let you all into a little secret. I went to a Catholic convent school, um, and uh, I questioned so much in the religious classes that they threw me out of the classes and said, "Don't come back." So
excellent.
whenever my class were having their religious education, I was sat in a room on my own reading a book, which was heavenly.
And
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but a lot of the people that I've met who had a Catholic upbringing or their dad was a vicar or whatever it was, they're the worst rebels out. They fought against it all generally.
Yeah, I'm all for live and let live. Whatever people believe in, that's entirely up to them. But um, I am a complete advocate for truth. And if I don't live and speak my truth, then how could I ever have a wish for everybody else to do that as well? Speak as you find, and do as you say. Uh, and but yeah, I was a bit of a rebel, I have to be honest.
But it's important.
I still am, I think.
This is good too, I reckon.
It is, yeah.
So, okay, so I think probably the next thing is people are probably dying to know, can they get taught this skill? You must be booked up for 1 million years in advance, I imagine. How does that one work?
Well, if they want to train to be ICU teachers and spread this through, through society, then the ICU website, which is icuacademy.co.uk, they can find all the information on there. If they want to sign their kids up, there's 2 pages of teachers on there all around the world, qualified and teachers in training, and they're all equally as good at working with the kids. Also, if I may just show you an image of my new book that I
Yes,
wrote.
please. Yes, I didn't have one, so I want to get it right away.
Okay, I'll send you a copy. So, Seeing More Than Their Eyes Can See. This came out a couple of months ago. I think we're up to about 360 copies sold in a couple of months, which is really exciting. Um, and I wrote this in a month, um, and got it published. And the information in there is very factual. It's scientific. It's about skeptics. It's about the benefits for the kids, etc. So the book is on Amazon and on the ICU website as well to be purchased.
So to be clear, the ICU is spelled the letters I, C, and U. rather
Yeah,
than the full words.
yeah. It's play on words. I see you, but it's the letters I, see, and you. Yeah, I see you Academy. And for
Yeah.
adults that want to learn, just please be patient. Because we do get a lot of inquiries about adults wanting to learn how to do this. And until now, it's been no. But at the moment, as I said, it's in developmental stages. And as soon as it's ready to be rolled out, it will also go on the ICU Academy website as well.
So if a parent is thinking, would my child be the right sort of child to be able to do this? Are there any sort of subtle questions you might ask the child or the parent even to gauge whether actually they're going to be spot on for it, they're somehow open in some way? I mean, are there any clever questions that could save a lot of time?
There's only one question, Clive, and that is, does your child want to do it?
Yes, yes.
That's it.
Right, fair enough.
And if the child is up for it, then the teachers are ready. We can't make a child do it, and we also have to be mindful that the child is not being coerced or forced into doing it because the parent thinks it's something really cool that their child could do. So we do have strong ethics behind the program, as in, why would you like your child to do this? What do you think the child would benefit from? But the most important question is, does your child want to take part? So any child, really.
Well, fantastic. That's absolutely wonderful.
We also get some amazing results with children who are on the spectrum, the neurodivergent children.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. Whether it's autism, Asperger's, ADHD, ADD, any of the spectrum. Um, and basically, it's because we are taking them through a process where they fully align with who they are energetically as opposed to who they are on a human level. So we get to the core of these children and take them into who they are. That's basically what it comes down to.
So I imagine you've seen some results where, let's say, the child was depressed and they snapped right out of it because suddenly they realized they're a much greater human being than they imagined. Is that the happiness quotient increased often?
We get a lot of happy children. And one of the most important pieces of feedback we get from lots of parents, and even if it's not possible, this is possible. Um, a lot of parents say how much more loving their children become.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, and that just melts my heart when I hear that because, children are so incredibly loving. They've just come from a place of love, at that point of birth, they're nothing but that pure energy of love. And then it's like they're returning to that point again, regardless of what life has thrown at them or how they've been brought up in life. They return to that source of love, and it's beautiful to see.
Well, the work you're doing is absolutely fantastic. And have you got any more video recordings that you've made that perhaps ones that weren't in the last one that I could edit into this?
I can get some for you for sure because I actually haven't worked with children for a long time because my focus has been working with the adults to train as teachers. But I can certainly supply you with some videos of more recent children, and they could be from other countries if that's okay. But yeah, I can get you some videos. I've actually got one, and I'm sure I'll get permission to share it with you. And it's of a little girl skiing down a slope in Switzerland blindfolded.
Come all the way here. Well done. Yay! Woo! Salma! Salmix! Hey, well done, sweetie! Amazing! Yay! Yay!
Yeah, and when she gets to the bottom of the slope, she's like, "Look at me, I was fantastic." And it's a beautiful video, so I'll share that one with you as well.
Wow, that's absolutely wonderful. Anything else that I should be asking you and haven't?
No, no, I don't think so. I mean, the only other thing that's in the book, which is part of the ICU Academy, and it's a relatively new program called Discovering Me. And this is a program for all ages, even up to young adults. And it's a program that we can work with the kids so that they can understand who they are as intuitives, as energetic people. And in the program, we can deal with bullying. We can deal with children who have aspirations to be amazing, but are too shy or not confident enough to develop the skills that they have. And we kind of put them in the shoes of the people they aspire to be like. It could be an athlete, a musician, or someone. And we take them through that life-changing experience so that they become their energetic self, but not with the blindfold. So that's called Discovering Me. That's in on the website and in the book as well. But yeah, there's lots happening all the time.
And how many children actually say, no, I don't want to do it? I wonder how many people are too shy or just too nervous to even want to try, or does it almost every child want to have a go?
If I was to guesstimate that, I would say 0.5%.
All right. Good, good.
Really, really low. They because it's like it's inbuilt in them. It's like they see it, they hear about it. I mean, I had a 5-year-old who found it on the web, on the internet. He got his mum to ring me. She asked me lots of questions and I gave her the answers. And she said, "My son would like to speak to you." And I said, "Great, put him on." And I had a 5-year-old interview me to see if I was suitable for him.
Wow. Well, there's a future leader in the making.
Absolutely. But yeah, the kids love it. It's very natural to them. Um, and one of the questions I do get asked a lot is, um, you know, do you keep track of the children that have been through the program? How are they doing 10 years down the line, 3 months down the line? And my answer is actually, it's none of our business. Because if I took my son to learn how to swim, the swimming teacher in 2 years' time isn't going to contact me and says, "Has your son continued with his swimming? Has he been in the sea? Has he been in a pool?" And and I I kind of see this program as extraordinary as it is. I want it to be as normal as like taking a swimming lesson.
Yeah.
And it's great to know how they're doing, but actually, once we've been through the program with them, what they do with it is actually none of our business anymore. And as teachers, we have to be very aware of not creating emotional bonds with the children, because when you're working in such high energy and high frequencies, that energetic bond can be very strong. And then when it's broken at the end, you know, we're left floundering, let alone the kids. So, it's got to be treated as naturally and as normal as possible for our preservation and for the future of the kids.
And there should be a proper documentary about this. I mean, a real proper documentary that won awards in cinemas. Is that on the cards?
Well, actually, funny you should say that. Have you heard of the telepathy tapes? Okay, so a lady in the States called Kai Dickens, she's produced these podcasts called the telepathy tapes, and it's all about children who are neurodivergent, who are telepathic, and various skills that these kids have. Well, she contacted me a few years ago and said she was going to be making a movie about these kids and would ICU like to be part of it. But she didn't get the funding for the movie, so she produced the podcast instead. Now she's got the funding and she's coming here next month to film the kids as part of the Telepathy Tapes movie. So that's very exciting. However, yes, I do feel it would be amazing to have a documentary or docu-series about ICU so that it can stand alone and not be part of other stuff as well.
Well, very good. My friend is sitting next to me nodding because we both know a producer who worth talking to. Probably love it, yes.
Oh, yeah, amazing. Yeah, well, you never know.
I'll send them this.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be amazing.
So I'll put all the references underneath and we'll put out a newsletter with this video in so it can be shared as widely as we can.
Amazing. And I'll put it on my websites and social media. And I really appreciate you, Clive. Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate you. And very soon the whole world will know.
Tell me what you're playing there now.
I'm playing Fortnite on my Nintendo.
Perfect. Tell me what you see on the screen.
For right now, my friends are inviting me. Right now, I'm just gonna play a solos match, and really, I'm just gonna play. So I just readied up. So let's wait until they get into our match.
Tell me who you're playing with.
Well, I'm not playing with anyone right now. But do you want me to play with my friend?
It's up to you. Just play.
Yeah, I will just play and then I'll play with them later.
Perfect. You're amazing.
Muy bien, a ver qué tienes por ahí. Perfecto. ¿Eso qué es? ¿Qué crees que puede ser eso? Es long, it's long.
Oh, I know what it is. It's probably a snake.
Muy bien, es una serpiente. ¿De qué color es?
Red.
Muy bien. ¿Hay alguna otra serpiente roja por ahí? Muy bien, Pitufa. Increíble, genial. ¿Dónde está la caja? Mira a ver dónde está la caja. Eso es, muy bien. Utiliza tu luz, envía tu luz. Perfecto. A ver, ¿qué más tenemos por aquí? Te voy a recolocar un poquito las tarjetas y vamos a coger otra. Uy, ¿esa cuál es? Es una cosa grande. ¿Y de qué color es? Muy bien. ¿Y qué crees que puede ser? Muy bien. A ver si encuentras la otra rana. A ver. Búscala. ¿Tú crees que es esa? Mírala bien. Mírala bien. ¿No? ¿Sigue buscando? Míralo bien. Muy bien, Pitufa. ¿Dónde está la caja? ¿Dónde está el barco? ¿Busca el barco? Si necesitas el barco más cerquita para verlo mejor, lo acercamos. Muy bien. ¿Quieres terminar de buscar las parejas? Venga, coge otras. Vamos a hacer otras 3. ¿Quieres? Venga. ¿Esa cuál es? Anda, qué lista. Claro, estaban al lado. Qué bien las has visto. A ver si ves el barco. Quiero que veas el barco antes de ponerlas. ¿Lo ves? ¿Dónde está el barco? Ahí, muy bien. Ahí está el barco. Perfecto. Una y la otra. Perfecto, venga, siguiente.
Well done, Salma. That's really nice. Great work, sweetie. Excellent.
It's my third one.
Ah, you want to know what the third one is already? Okay, we'll find out very soon. Well done. Excellent. Are you ready for the third one? So the third one is a very tricky one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You sure? The charm.
See if I can do this.
Let's see. Hmm. Excellent.
Of 500. I've been working on it all year. Muggle were petting charms on every inch of it. Every time Muggles have got anywhere near here all year, they suddenly remembered urgent appointments and had to dash away again. Bless them, he added fondly, leading the way towards.
Whoa.
That was umbrella.
Umbrella. Well done. Excellent, sweetie. Very good. What about the last one?
Definitely orange.
That's an easy one because it's the last one, isn't it? Now, can you read them all for me?
Okay. Hey, Sasa. Okay, this one says sock, stinky sock.
Remember to close your eyes. Always close your eyes. Leave your blindfold. Keep going.
For frog.
Well done, Cuckoo. Well done, frog.
House, umbrella, and orange.
Amazing.
the
Oh,
orange
the orange fell.
I can
The orange fell here. Here.
Oh, what? So hard with the blindfold.